So good afternoon. We're here actually to discuss two reports, but also two different futures on these 2 days of this executive summit. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the abundance of artificial intelligence. And today we're going to talk about the abundance of scarcity. Now they have something in common because we present them both as an experiment. Since Sam Altman opened the doors of his ChatGPT laboratory, we are all here in this room, his guinea pigs, and nobody knows where it will end and what the future will bring. Whereas, and of course, an abundance of Pierre Esler's we will see too, luckily. The other experiment is called the Great Acceleration. We have seen the growth of the economy the past decades tremendously, and all the luxury that came with it, but now we face the side effects. Scarcity of all kinds of things, like drinking water, resources, metals, stable climate, biodiversity, equality, these kind of things. But they also differ in a very important way, because tomorrow we will discuss something called like super intelligence, and today everything will be about super stupidity. Well, you might say, Menno, define stupidity for me. So I've got a definition of stupidity. You might have one yourself. It comes from the Encyclopedia of Stupidity, written by someone who studies stupidity for all his life. And it goes as follows. So stupidity is, as you can read, an unconscious tendency to self-destruction, a capacity that you'll find in no other animals than in human beings, and some proof points you can see over here. Just to be clear, stupidity is not the opposite of intelligence. Okay? And we should really be scared if you combine those, intelligence and stupidity. So 2 years ago, around 2 years ago, our study started, and this is a day in the life of me, actually, when I dived into this scarcity stuff. So I started the morning with walking the dog, Dudu, you see her here, listening to podcasts like The Climate Question, BBC, or This Is Hell. Very, very, very good podcast, This Is Hell. And then coming home, reading books, you see one of those here, The Value of a Whale, which is about on the illusions of capitalism. And finishing off just before I went to sleep with 1 or 2 chapters of Greta Thunberg's climate book. About 150 scientists worked on that book. But it comes with a warning, I would say. Don't try this at home. I mean, scientific literature about climate, as a genre, it doesn't make you feel well. It did make me feel well, so I went to the doctor the other day, and he sent me to the hospital. And there I was, at 9 o'clock in the evening, waiting for the medical results or the examinations that I had, because my blood pressure was 240, 140 or something, so a little bit too high, you understand. And as the doctor entered and put his arm on my shoulder with the results, he said, Mr. van Doorn, you're perfectly healthy. But how about your personal life? Well, my wife was sitting on the other side of the bed, so what could I say? I'm a happy man. No, I mean, the stress you have. And then I started talking with my doctor about all these things at 9 o'clock in the evening in the hospital about the Great Acceleration and all these things going up, creating scarcity that we now face, but also the Earth system trends that go up. And this is not the good direction, so we are heading towards a disaster. And I said, doctor, people behave differently when they see these facts. For instance, the scientist that I mentioned here, Tim Garrett, who is a nephologist. This means he is a cloud expert. I mean, not your type of clouds, but real clouds. And he has built a system where he can tell you how much the economy has grown worldwide by just looking at the clouds. Can you imagine? And he is telling us that we should stop organizing climate conferences, because you can see here the clear relationship between the climate change and the conferences that we organize. And other scientists are doing, Erik van Sibille, also an earth scientist, he started crying during his inauguration as a professor. And these are scientists. And then the normal people, I mean the non-scientists, what are they doing? Well, they're doing, yeah, they have different coping systems. Well, the show must go on, you would say, and ignorance is a bliss. So I told my doctor, I'm confused. I'm so confused, I'm worried. Also what's happening to businesses, and it's not fair, I told him. I will give you one example. There is this island, Pulau Pari. Nobody ever heard about it. But the island is sinking. And now they are taking a company called Holcim, nobody ever heard about that company, in Switzerland, to court, because they blame them that they are sinking. But they are accelerating green growth, as you can see. And I went to their website, and they are the leaders in sustainability. So it's just not fair. And the other day, Bloomberg, maybe you've seen the news, is now saying that Apple's supply chain is on a collision course with climate change. And they calculated that 69% of their facilities where they make stuff is at a high risk, getting at a high risk of flooding. 69%. You know, this could mean that we all will witness the end of Candy Crush, which will be a huge disaster, of course. So people are getting confused. They start demonstrating, climate strikes, whatever. As you can see here, for instance, the little girl in the middle. Let's see whether that works here. Oh. Yeah, well, the seasons are more irregular than my period, it says. She says, and that's so true. So my fellow futurists, as we might call them, are now saying that VUCA is disappearing and that Barney is the new VUCA. I mean, VUCA is the magic word that people use in boardrooms when they are confused and say, well, it's so unpredictable, maybe it's VUCA, and yes, it's VUCA. But that word came from when the Berlin Wall fell down and the world became unstable. And Barney is a climate word, and it says brittle, anxious, nonlinear. Think about the island, and incomprehensible. And then the doctor said to me, but Menno, don't you have any hope? I said, well, yeah, well, I'm working for the IT industry, and hope is our middle name. So yes, I have hope. There's some beautiful technologies helping people to warn them for these kind of things, like augmented reality. And Weather Channel is using augmented reality to warn people for flash flooding. And let's see how that goes.
Water flowing at just 10 miles an hour can produce the same force as winds blowing at 300 miles an hour. Look at this. This is a huge log coming down the road, and it's so scary. You never know it's even in the water, but you can see some of the larger objects, including a truck right here. Absolutely life-threatening situations that come with flash flooding. And unfortunately, more heavy rain events are occurring due to our warming climate. So you are more likely to be caught in this situation. If you ever do get stuck in a flash flood, try to stay calm.
Stay calm, please. But actually, this is a good thing, and we mentioned this in the report. The fact that we experience these things ourselves, either through the media or maybe coming back from a holiday. So we coined this new concept called the experience ecology, which goes right to your heart. And sociologists are saying this is a good thing, because now people will come into action. Because as soon as something is personal, it's abrupt, it's immoral, this ain't fair, and it's happening now, then you will see change, they say. It's an acronym that you have here called PAIN. That I understand, my doctor said. I understand pain. I'm a doctor. I said, well, okay, but what should I do? And his advice would be to take one pill every morning. So I've got my pill here. I've taken this morning. And get it off your chest, he said. Get on a stage and talk about these kind of things. Invite people to come. They don't even have to listen. It doesn't matter. Just be there and be part of my therapy. So thank you for being here for that reason. But if you talk about this stuff, you need to do two things, he said. Please present them the root cause of the problem, and don't depress them too much. Give a solution, as I will do, okay? Now, you're intelligent people, all of you. We know that the root cause of any problem is the same. It's, of course, ignorance. And I will give you one example of these tennis balls that I have ordered 2 weeks ago on the internet. Fantastic delivery. I gave them a 5-star rating. And you can play with them on Roland Garros. And there's a lot of things that we don't know about these tennis balls. For instance, did you know that this ball has traveled already 80,000 kilometers before it arrived at my home? Because it's fabricated from stuff coming from 13 different countries, like clay from the USA and rubber from Malaysia and other stuff from Japan. And then the outside is made of synthetic wool, aka plastic. So when you play tennis, you spread microplastics all over the place. And a normal player takes about 20 hours before it throws the ball away, and on Roland Garros, half an hour. And then it continues to live for 400 years. 325 million balls are made every year. And because it's rubber, they emit methane, which has 38 times more effect than CO2 on climate change. Okay? So who plays tennis here? Okay, they are the guilty ones. But of course, I mean, we are all focusing on the user experience economy, and forget about the ecological effects. So what should we do? I give you two options, two routes to get out of this mess. And one is called eco-modernism, the other is called degrowth, or other people are saying it's post-growth, or it might be eco-socialism, whatever you call it. And the eco-modernists are saying we should look at technology as a saver. I mean, technology will save the world. We will invent stuff that hasn't been invented yet in order to grow green, okay? Whereas the eco-socialists are saying, you think maybe ChatGPT is hallucinating, but we are hallucinating if we think that infinite growth is possible. So we should focus on quality of life. We should focus on conviviality, living together. We've forgotten how to live together. And it's a school very much woke. It's all about equality. That's the movement. Now, we luckily have two representatives of these schools to dive deeper into this matter. Peter Leiden, although you don't call yourself an eco-modernist, you feel very related to them. Technology optimist, I would say. And Susan Paulson, who is an authority on degrowth. Okay, more about that. But be sure, when you listen to those talks, they both talk about a revolution. And you can choose whatever revolution you want, but a revolution is needed. Either a social revolution, you know, the system that we're in should break down according to the degrowth school, and it's already happening. It's woke, shareholder activism, that kind of stuff. Or a technological revolution with lots of money being pumped like the Green Deals into this. This is fantastic news if you're in technology. Because the more the climate will change, the more money we'll put in. If you've only seen the beginning of it. So, to finish off, I would like to maybe give you a recipe for some piece of advice what you could do in your organization. Two things. I think you should start the day by taking a pill. Yeah? But in this case, it would be a technology pill. And yeah, there are 3 tastes of this pill. You should use them, all 3 of them. One is techno-sobriety, doing less with less. I mean, ICT is heading towards a 14% take on all the emissions of CO2 worldwide. 14%, this is not sustainable. Yesterday in the news was that AI will soon be using as much energy as the country where I came from, the Netherlands. And my question is this really intelligent AI, or is it the combination of stupidity and intelligence? I don't know. Conscious technology, you will find a lot of that in the report, making people aware, but also the first stepping stone for a regenerative economy, and deep technology we've discussed. So that's one thing, and to finish off with the second thing, for those of you who've been in couple therapy with your partner and fantasize about group therapy, well, this is your moment. At your table, that's exactly what we will do. So talk with each other about your pain that you have and the questions that you have that you don't dare to share with your colleagues, maybe, for the whole 2 days. And please be aware that in the report that's on your table, we finish off the last 2 pages with a call for action. If you're at home and you've read it, if you need assistance, give us a call, we can do it. Because there's one revolution that we don't want, and that's the revolution of doing nothing, and planet Earth, and then you really should read all the scientific stuff that we have been reading. Yeah, that's the finish off. Thank you so much.